Satina. Hello, hello. Straighten my camera just a little bit here. Can't even see that. Yay, that's it. Oh, cool. I'm so glad you're here. This is an awesome night. Happy Friday night. And I see Elaine and Sly. Hello, Sly. And I think the whole gang is probably here tonight. So I'm just going to do a little housekeeping because I know TikTok is inviting people in. So if you like the content, just tap the little heart for me if you would. We're going to talk about 5 ways to have hormone balance. So if that seems like a topic that someone in your life could probably use, please click the little arrow down at the bottom, and that's a share, and you can invite people in, which would be awesome. Also, if you want to know more, I have lots of free downloads in my link in bio. So if you click my picture up there at the top, it will take you to my main page and you'll see all my videos. There's like tons and tons and tons of videos. So anything new that you want to learn or anything that you don't know about hormones, and there's so much that's not shared with the general population. So, or with doctors for that matter. So if you want to learn more and know more, if you are suffering, if you feel like something's not right, if you've ever said, I think my hormones are off, if you've ever had someone else say, have you ever thought about getting your hormones checked? Which is really funny, not funny, not funny, because nobody has a problem saying to somebody, maybe you should get your hormones checked. But then yet when you go to your doctor and say, I think I need my hormones checked, they're like, no, you don't need your hormones checked. You're probably just depressed. Here's your Prozac. Or are you sleeping okay? Not really. Oh, here's your sleeping pill. And that's where that goes. That's as far as that goes usually. So most of us know that there's a hormone issue, but most of us also know that doctors don't know how to have the conversation with patients. And most of us also know that if we've been to the doctor and we've tried to get our questions answered and we've tried to get help, especially if you're post-menopause, the only thing that you get is hormones cause cancer. And the crazy part about that is that doctors have no problem writing birth control pills, which are synthetic hormones, every single day, and never tell a single patient, and sometimes patients as young as 9 years old who have dysfunctional uterine bleeding, which should never happen, but it does because of our environment, because of our food, because of all the influences that we're exposed to. But they never have a problem prescribing synthetic oral hormones and never say that could cause cancer, but it can. And when you're postmenopausal and you have no hormones anymore, now suddenly, even doing natural, organic, bioidentical hormones cause cancer. And it's just not true. And there was a study done in 2002 called the WHI study, and it was completely misrepresented. The data was very misconstrued when it went to the mainstream media. Women thought that 1 in 4 of their group, whatever your friend group, 1 in 4 were going to get breast cancer. And everybody was terrified. And even now on a daily basis, when my patients come to clinic, I hear all the time, does this cause cancer? And even my patients who have been my patients for years, they'll still go to their French group or art class or spin class, and someone will say, hey, you look great. What are you doing? And they think, I want to do that too. And then they say, I'm taking bioidentical hormones. And first of all, they're probably like, what? Bioidentical what? And then when you say that, they're like, all they hear is hormones. And they're like, why are you doing that? That causes cancer. And so it's absolutely clown world. I always say that it's absolute madness. And there's so much suffering going on. And it's just so sad that there's so much suffering going on because it doesn't have to be that way. So one of my main things that I like to do on these TikTok lives is to answer your questions. And it seems like I get a lot of people who I'll get toward 15 minutes in, and then all the questions start rolling in so fast that I can't even answer them fast enough. So please put them in and kind of disperse them. And if I don't get to your question, like right when I see it, please type it in again and bring it back around, and be patient with me, because sometimes as I'm looking at your questions, I jump around and it looks like I'm chasing rabbits all the time. So if I don't get to it, doesn't mean that I'm not going to. I'm going to get back to it in a minute. And my wonderful fiance is my moderator, and so he makes sure all the creepy people stay off, but he will bring the questions back around if he knows that someone asked something that I didn't get to or didn't have time to get to. So hi, Claudia. So yeah, so this is your time. So you guys ask me questions, and then I've got a little bit of content here. I do want to say just a little bit of housekeeping, especially for my tribe, because we are so used to being together on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday nights at 7. It's kind of a thing we do, that I have found that we really get more new people if I sort of shake up the times. So I'm going to do that a little bit more and probably get away from the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights at 7. But there is all the content of all the lives that I've done. So go back and watch those. If you miss me on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, and I'm still going to do some Monday and Wednesday and Friday nights, but if you miss me, go watch some of those other videos, because the content is, I'm super proud of the content. So there's, you can never know enough, right? So Constantina, yeah, most of you guys are on TikTok all the time. And so I don't know, like, I just love it, because I'm like, you had no idea I was even on. So I kind of like the mystery and the mystique of when I pop on. And I'm always kind of different times in the day. So sometimes in the middle of clinic, or sometimes in the morning when I'm curling my hair. So I'm kind of in different energy moods throughout the day too. So it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to kind of switch that up just a little bit. So for you fans, I'm always available. And if you have a particular time that you would like to see me, or a particular day, you can just direct message me that. Our tribe, which is our membership program, which is bioidentical hormones and testing and support, is in Hormone Bliss. You can go to hormonebliss.com, and it is a wonderful group. We do a live every week, every month, once a month, and all of the sisterhood sisters are in there, and we get to ask questions, and just I get to be present, and I get to see you guys that I don't get to see your faces on TikTok. And one of my patients actually texted me today and said, "Are you going to be on tonight at 7?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Can they see me?" Like, no, they can't see you. And even on our monthly Zoom calls, you can kind of not mute your picture, but you can like cross out your picture, so you're going to have to do that. But anyway, okay, so housekeeping there. So you guys feel free to put your questions in. And I actually have some of the most common questions. So if you guys are shy or bashful and you're not putting your questions in, then I will bring up the most common questions and answer some of those. Weight gain is real. Yeah, Claudia. So absolutely. Weight gain is real, especially over 40. And I have women tell me all the time, and I just did a video this morning. So go back in my feed and watch just the most recent video this morning. Women over 40 are really struggling because your metabolism has totally changed. And I think that most women know that our metabolism has changed because everyone talks about it, but nobody really gives you a specific plan. It's kind of like when you go to your doctor and they say, lose weight, exercise more, eat less. And that's all they tell you. But when you're over 40, that doesn't work anymore. And the reason it doesn't work is, we can say because your metabolism has changed. But why does your metabolism change? Because your estrogen and progesterone are out of balance. And after menopause, menopause is just a year without periods. After menopause, what we're dealing with is complete ovarian retirement. Your ovaries do not function anymore. You're out of eggs. And now you have no estrogen, progesterone, maybe a little bit of testosterone. And every function in your body is dependent on that, including your thyroid balance. And your thyroid is your metabolic control. So if your estrogen and thyroid are out of, you have no estrogen, your thyroid is in the toilet, everything you do, it doesn't matter, because nothing is going to burn for you. Yeah. Oh, Jennifer, I cannot function. We can totally fix that. And Michelle says, I've been on the bioidentical cream for about a month and I have noticed a drop in weight. Yay. I love that, Michelle. I'm so glad. Yes, that is so true, because you need your estrogen to fire up your metabolism. And metabolism is this like really sort of amorphous thing we talk about. It's like, what is metabolism? And how do we rev it up? And we think of like energy, and it is energy, because what happens is when you take food in and you burn that energy off, hormones do that. So when we talk about metabolism, we're just talking about hormone balance. And that is so, so important, because if your hormones are out of balance, nothing works, including your metabolism. So anyway, a little plug. I want to let you know that if you think your hormones are out of balance, if you're not sleeping, if you have brain fog, if you are tired, if you are gaining weight and you feel like nothing you do matters, you've tried all the supplements, you've spent a fortune and the latest, greatest, this, that, you watch TikTok videos and they're all like, I did this, I took this one little pill and within 2 weeks I was down 20 pounds. I mean, that's just unrealistic of all things. So one of the things that we do in our program is we do hormone testing. If your estrogen is completely depleted, your thyroid is going to be totally in the toilet. I mean, it's just like, I've seen so many women who come in and then they get on bioidentical hormones. Now their hormone balance is there and their thyroid corrects. And I get so many women off their thyroid hormones. And I'm not telling you to stop your medicine ever, but I am saying that I have so many women that I tell, your thyroid imbalance is from your estrogen imbalance. And you fix that, it will fix everything else. And it's crazy how all that's interconnected, because estrogen actually helps your stomach acid be more in tune with the way your digestion needs to work. It also supports the flora in your gut, the cellular health. So if you have autoimmune thyroid, all that starts in the gut. That's where your immune system does most of its work. And that's where most of your serotonin is made. So if you have depression, if you don't have a healthy gut, you're going to not have serotonin enough to really support your mood. So if estrogen supports your gut, and estrogen supports your thyroid, and estrogen supports your fat burning, it has so much of an impact. And you have to get those levels back to a youthful level. Crystal says, how do you fix your estrogen after hysterectomy? Krista says, wow, yeah, it's so true. So how do you fix it? You get on bioidentical hormones, which are, I'm holding our hormone creams, which are completely different than synthetic hormones. And they not only will resolve your symptoms, because we work with you to get the balance, they not only will resolve your symptoms, but they also will protect your heart, your brain, your bones. Everybody knows that estrogen helps your bones be stronger, but everybody's scared of estrogen, which is so crazy, because that WHI study that scared everybody, it wasn't even estrogen that was the concern at all. It was synthetic progesterone. Given Effexor for your symptoms. Oh my gosh, Claudia, I am so sorry. Your menopause or perimenopause, know how old you are, was misdiagnosed. I'm sorry, and it's criminal. It was misdiagnosed. You have a hormone imbalance, or you have no hormones because you've gone through menopause. So 49, you're probably menopausal, I'm assuming, which means your ovaries have run out of eggs and you're totally depleted of hormones. So we need to get your hormones checked, and we need to get you on some bioidentical hormones. I have lots of videos where I talk about the difference between natural hormones and synthetic hormones. So please go watch those. And if you go to my main page, you'll also see my bio, and you'll see a little down pointing emoji, and you can go and download lots of free information. And there's also a link to order our hormone test kit. So super, super important. And yeah, go watch them. They're like, I'm a total goofball, but I love the content. I love to freak people out and share new information that they've never heard before. So I always like to challenge you that there's so much information. Synthetic hormones are making me so sick. I'm so sorry, Crystal. Please get off the synthetic hormones and get your levels checked. So what you do, people are like, how do I do that? How do I do that? So you just go to Hormone Bliss, order a test kit, or you can go to my link in bio, and there's a direct link there. And you just order a kit. The shipping is free, comes right to you. All you do is fill out this form, And yeah, my moderator has TikTok 20. So it's only $129. Even if you get your doctor to check your hormones, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, that's not necessary. Or your insurance will say that's not necessary. So for $129, but if you use the code TikTok20, it takes $20 off. So it's just a little over $100. So for $100, basically, you can know what your hormone levels are. But it's so much more than that because we interpret that for you and actually make recommendations for you. So that's where the power is. It's not just about getting a test and like, oh, okay, I know I'm not crazy now. I know this is way off, but it's about actually making a plan to help you feel better. So then you fill out this questionnaire, and basically it's your first name, your last name, and your birth date. And then if you're having menstrual cycles, if you've had a hysterectomy, if you've had your ovaries removed, and then all the symptoms, which there are so many symptoms. So it starts with hot flashes, right? Because that's the most common symptom that actually it's not. It is a common symptom. The most common symptom that women know about, the number one symptom that brings women into my practice is weight gain, because they're like, they can deal with hot flashes, they can deal with night sweats and brain fog and not sleeping, but the weight gain is what brings them in. So Claudia, we are nationwide, so you don't have to make a visit to come see me. This is nationwide. So you just go to our website, order a test kit, we get your results, and then we'll make the recommendations to get you on therapy and get you feeling better. So, okay, I'm just going to go through some of these symptoms. So beside hot flashes, we've got brain fog, heart palpitation, aches and pains, allergies, sugar cravings, hair loss, anxious, weight gain, change in cholesterol, dry or brittle hair, constipation, urinary incontinence, memory lapses, bone loss, fibromyalgia, frozen shoulder, chemical sensitivities, bleeding changes, water retention, swelling or puffy eyes or face, breaking brittle nails, that's a mouthful. Krista says, horrible, I've gained 26 pounds in a year. Okay, so we have to stop the madness. And a lot of times, because I've been in clinic all day, so this is my uniform. And I rushed home, so I haven't changed. So so many symptoms. So when you fill this out, you put it in here, and then you just put your saliva in this little test tube. Make sure when you order your kit that you put it by your bedside as soon as you get it, because so many women will get the kit and they'll just lay it by their bedside and forget to send it in. We've had women, it's like we have to chase them down, like, send your saliva in. And so some people ask me, you're so welcome. Some people ask me, is saliva legit? And it absolutely is. Our lab does blood testing. It does dried urine testing. It does all the things, right? So it is a legit lab. And the reason I like saliva testing, number one, is because it is so convenient and you don't have to go to a lab and get stuck. But when we're doing bioidentical hormones, we can actually measure what's in the tissues through the saliva, and then we can actually give you bioidentical hormones, which we don't ever use the oral form because that has to go through your liver for its metabolism. But when you're putting the topical cream on, it goes straight to the tissues. So saliva is a really good way to get an accurate reading. The blood fluctuates. Your levels can be up, be down in any given moment. And I still do blood testing in my clinic because I do thyroid and all that stuff too. But the saliva, if we're just going to figure out your main ovarian hormones, your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, then this is super, super accurate. So when you do that, you just pop it in here. There's a mailer. You put it in UPS, you send it in, we get your results, and then come up with a plan to get you feeling better. And our membership that we do, it's a monthly membership, and it includes all your creams. And then we make recommendations for supplements and things like that and support you in every way. And you get to hang out with me once a month and talk about all the things and how you're feeling. And we make adjustments. So we always get it right. If you stay the course with us, our commitment to you is that we get you feeling better. So bar that there's something really crazy going on in your life that, no hormone can touch. If it's a hormone problem, we will get it right and get you feeling better. So I'm super passionate about that. And again, if you guys have any questions, you can always direct message me and I get to all my questions. I did a live this afternoon and I haven't gotten to all my messages. So don't call me out on you didn't answer my message yet, because I promise tonight I will get to them. And if there are too many, then I have my staff help me with them sometimes as well. So absolutely want to get that going. Okay, now I have a little challenge for you guys. Are you ready? If you want my free download, totally free, it's a checklist of weight loss tips. Just put in the chat, help me. And I will send you a link. And if you will send a little heart and a little like too, then also direct message me after. So you've got a few things that you got to do. I will send you a link directly to our checklist that will help you understand what's going on in your body and how hormones can influence things. So help me if you're struggling with weight loss, and then direct message me. So, okay. So you guys feel free to put some questions in. I'm just going to go through a few things here about 5 ways to have hormone balance. Some of these you're going to think, oh, well, that's common sense. But I think on some level, people don't realize how important it is. So number 1 is eat healthy. Yeah, we all know you're supposed to eat healthy, right? Eat healthy. What does that even mean? So eating healthy is not as hard as you think, because you're thinking, oh my gosh, I got to go get broccoli and asparagus and I got to cook that and I got to know how to flavor it up so my family will actually eat it. My kids hate vegetables, because when you eat all these foods with preservatives on them, it changes your taste buds and it changes your family's taste buds, and vegetables don't taste good anymore. The generation before me, I'm 56 now, the generation before me, actually the vegetables tasted good and they had minerals in them, because we actually turned our crops over back then, right? We don't just we grow on topsoil now, but families actually thought vegetables tasted good. Now, because we have all these processed foods and our taste buds have changed and all this sugar, that stuff doesn't taste good anymore. So one of the things you can do is start slowly reintroducing some vegetables, or get a nice fruits and greens powder and start having that for breakfast. And we have a good one. If you go to my link in bio, there's a link tree and then there's a shop page. So we have a really good fruits and greens, and it has probiotics in it. They're delicious. My son, he's almost 21, and he's always like, Mom, how much of this can I drink? So it's like Kool-Aid to him. We don't drink Kool-Aid or sodas, but he loves it. And it's got probiotics. So if you know you need to get probiotics in all your daily intake of stuff, go check that out. Thoughts on Chase Tree. So Doris, I'm assuming it's Doris. I think it is very, very powerful. And there's lots of supplements that can help balance your hormones. And I have a fertility program. I haven't launched it yet nationwide in my practice. I've had such good results with all natural fertility, and we use progesterone, bioidentical progesterone, and my fiance is so supportive, and he so wants me to get this out there, because it's crazy. All the people that I'm almost like, I have the sixth sense about when my patients actually get pregnant. And I just had somebody this week and I said, you're pregnant. And she's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, you are pregnant. I mean, I know it. It's like, I just have this, like, it's this energy thing. And I'm like, so she's like, no. And then the next day she came and she's like, guess what? I'm like, I know, I already knew. So thoughts on Chase Tree. Chase Tree is really good, especially during fertile years, to get your estrogen progesterone balance. So I really like Chase Tree. So that's a good supplement. You want a good quality. So if you want to direct message me, I can send you a link to a good quality one if you want. Methodology for lowering cortisol. Okay, so this one's really easy. Natural progesterone, because natural progesterone is an anti-inflammatory. And your estrogen and progesterone need to be balanced. And we have all sorts of ways of doing that. But cortisol will come down when your progesterone is higher, not high, but higher. And estrogen, I'm going to show you a picture here real quick. Let me do this. So I got a couple different pictures on here. But basically, your body takes cholesterol, which is a hormone, steroid hormone, turns it into progesterone. And then that turns into estrogen. And there's different types of estrogen. So that's kind of where the whole estrogen issue comes in. And then testosterone. And then it also makes cortisol. So this is happening and converting in your liver. So liver health is really, really important because this conversion of these estrogens and progesterones and cortisol is happening in your liver. And most of your cortisol, yes, is made from your adrenal glands. But if your liver's not healthy, you're not going to convert appropriately. And when you're pumping out too much cortisol, and when these, especially after menopause, are all low, you're going to have a high cortisol, and then you're going to get belly fat. You're going to deplete your cortisol, and then you're going to get joint aches and pains because cortisol, like a steroid injection, like a cortisone injection, helps balance all your hormones out. So it's all about balance. The website is hormonebliss.com. Yeah, so go there and order a test kit and learn all sorts of cool information and watch the videos because I have lots of cool stuff out there. So I'm going to pull this off here, but progesterone is one of the main ways to balance your cortisol. Oh, you're so welcome. And it's so easy to do. If you have estrogen dominance, we use progesterone to calm down the estrogen dominance. They sort of, if you look at a menstrual cycle, I don't know if you can see this one, but here are your hormones on this axis. And then this is day 1 through 28. Day 14 is the day you ovulate. And estrogen does this part of the cycle and progesterone does this part of the cycle. If you have estrogen dominance, and that's very common in perimenopause, the estrogen is like way up here. So you use progesterone to pull estrogen back into check. And if these are not in balance, then estrogen can actually stimulate more of a cortisol response. So it's all about balance. So people are like, wait a minute, I thought you said estrogen, but it's all about balance. And it's the same thing with cancer. I just did a video on cancer last night, and breast cancer specifically. And a lot of people think that cancer is like this monster that you get. It is not. Cancer is from the inside. You are your cancer cells, and your immune system is constantly repairing those cells. So it's really important that your immune system is healthy, that progesterone balances out your cortisol, because that inflammation and the lack of cortisol that you have can cause so many issues, including your immune system to malfunction. And your immune system is constantly repairing cells that are trying to go renegade and cause cancer. And there's a reason that women my age in my 50s are more prone to get all kinds of cancers. And a woman in her 30s who has super, super high hormone levels is not prone to it. Now, yes, younger women can get cancer, but it's more uncommon. Now we have synthetic hormones that can cause cancer. There are so many issues that can be at play when it comes to cancer. And again, the WHI study, it wasn't even the estrogen arm that was of the statistical concern. It was the synthetic progestin arm. So it's not even estrogen. So it's kind of like that gossip game, as it goes down the line. It's like when you are little and you tell the stories and like you whisper in somebody's ear, and then by the time it gets down the line, it's, gone. Change creams from all-in-one cream to individual progesterone. I'm starting to sleep better. Yay. Yeah. So sometimes Elaine was mentioning she's in our program and doing bioidentical hormones. So sometimes we'll do a combo cream because it's just more convenient to put everything in one cream. But sometimes we'll separate them out. And then that way you can adjust. You can take more. Yeah, this is kind of bugging me. You can take more progesterone if you need that for sleep. If you're having hot flushes, you can take more estrogen. And I always say that if you really want to get it dialed in, you can adjust things within a certain range. Safe, or is there a risk for cancer? So the question comes up all the time. Are bioidenticals safe? So bioidentical are natural, same as the hormones in your body, and it's all about balance. And we use the topical form, so it doesn't go through the oral route, doesn't go through your liver for its metabolism, doesn't compete with any other of the clotting factors and things like that. It doesn't stress your liver by trying to do its conversion, because after menopause, when you have no hormones, your liver is dependent on conversion of your hormones. And if you have fatty liver and you've gained weight and you have high cortisol and you have more belly fat, now your liver is not as healthy as it was. So then you have a real challenge with getting your hormones balanced. So bioidenticals are the same as your body, and when you use it through a topical route, that is so safe. I mean, I don't even know, like, it's not only so safe, it's protective. It protects your bones, because when you don't have estrogen anymore, and I promise you, if you check my levels at 56, not taking my hormones, my estrogen is so low that it's that little less than sign that you remember from algebra. It's like non-detectable. Progesterone is non-detectable. It is so sad. And without those, we are literally drying up. Our bones are drying up. Our brain is drying up. We're getting brain fog, risk of dementia. The stats show that about 60% of women over the age of 60 have significant cognitive decline. And that is not okay, because it's so preventable. So not only are bioidentical topicals safe, they are life-saving. So I can't preach that enough. And I'm a medical doctor. I've been a doctor almost 25 years. I've had every hormone problem that you can name: endometriosis, fertility problems, PCOS, dysfunctional uterine bleeding, PMDD, all the things, thyroid dysfunction secondary to my estrogen issues. I have lived it all. I had an ovary out. I had my uterus out. I went through natural menopause at 50 because they left me an ovary and it totally dried up at 50. I get it. I've had hot flashes. On my 50th birthday, when that one ovary that I had dried up, literally overnight, I woke up that morning in a pool of sweat. I had hot flushes all day long. I had a house full of people because it was my 50th birthday, which is kind of a milestone. I was crying like a baby. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to see any of the people that I loved. I just wanted to crawl in a hole. And I'm the hormone queen, right? But everything shifted. Everything changed. So I had to totally redo everything that I was doing. So that's part of what we do to help women, is we take that journey with you, because if you are perimenopausal, you will have that switch flipped and you will need us, and then we'll help you adjust. So agree with you, our pharmacist compound topicals, and they're so effective. Thank you. Yes. So one of the things, thanks for pointing that out, is that compounding pharmacies have bioidentical hormones, but they are made just for you. So they are blended just for you, and then, adjusted based on your labs and based on your symptoms and what goals you want to achieve. And commercial pharmacies have bioidentical hormones too. So that's kind of a misinformation kind of thing that people have. And Misty, I didn't see your question. Sometimes there's like screening stuff and we don't see the questions coming through. So I'm so sorry. You can always direct a message to me, because you know how to find me, Misty. But yeah, so commercial pharmacies do have bioidentical hormones like estradiol patches, estradiol creams, progesterone, natural progesterone capsules. So there are lots of bioidentical things that are commercially available, but I like having the cream so that you can self-adjust, and then if you have support, we can tell you how to adjust them as well. Dottie, so I do take patients, but I'm only in Arkansas, but our program, Hormone Bliss, hormonebliss.com, is nationwide, and all you have to do to get in the club and get your hormones checked and get on bioidentical hormones is order a test kit. So this is our hormone test kit, and all you do is order it, and you can go to Hormone Bliss, or you can go to my link in bio, and there's a link there, and you can order the kit. And then you just put your saliva in this little tube, and then you send it off to the lab, and you fill out this questionnaire with all your symptoms. And the symptoms are nuts, because it's everything from, I would say, frozen shoulder, but foggy thinking, brain fog, allergies, chemical sensitivities, hot flashes, night sweats, vaginal dryness, weight gain, nails breaking, puffy eyes, dry mouth, burning mouth syndrome, bleeding changes, bruising, low libido, fatigue, all the things. So you fill this out, you put it in the test kit, and you send it in, and the shipping is free, and it's only $129. And with the code TikTok20, my moderator will put that in there. It is only $109. Where's the best place to apply bias and progesterone? Usually it's the inner arms and the inner thighs. And it's really important that you alternate the sites every other day because you will saturate your receptors. So it's really important that you switch things around. What types of side effects do you experience from the topical creams? So, Whitney, here's the way I think of it. When you have symptoms of menopause, hot flashes, night sweats, brain fog, weight gain, tired, not sleeping, those are symptoms of menopause. When you get on bioidentical hormones, which are your estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, whatever is deficient in your body, and we know that after testing, your symptoms can switch around. And so we call that, because we've introduced something from the outside, we call that side effects. Smooth skin. Yeah, you smooth skin. That's awesome. We call those side effects, but they're not really side effects, because you think of side effects from medications that cause one thing to happen that's unwanted. When you have symptoms of menopause, they're there until you resolve them. Sometimes when you resolve one symptom, something else moves up. And so we have to address that. But some of the things that can happen, just to answer your question, is if you get too much estrogen, you can get a little breast tenderness. You might get headaches. You might feel a little bit agitated. Thank you, honey. You might feel a little agitated, and too much estrogen has, just usually it's mood changes. So progesterone helps you sleep. So if you get too much progesterone, it might make you sleepy. So that's why we work with you to help you adjust those doses. Thank you, honey. That's why we work with you to help you adjust those doses so that we get it right. But I always tell people, you have to be patient in the beginning, because your hormone imbalance didn't happen overnight. And it sometimes takes us a little time to get a balance. Like I said, when I was perimenopausal, and then I shifted, and I was on hormones, and then I shifted into full-blown menopause, I had to switch things around, because what was working then wasn't working after my ovaries completely retired. Connie said, love my progesterone, sleeping so much better with BHRT. Yay, I love it. Thanks for sharing, Connie. I know, and it's always so great when the tribe sisters are on here, because I know that so many of the new people that come in are like, this is so new, and they're scared, and this is the first time they've heard this sometimes, or they've heard it before, but they're still scared, and they're still believing this narrative. And because people's doctors are still stuck in that box about a study that was done over 20 years ago that I can't even, I won't even go there. Go watch some of my videos and you can learn more about that. But, oh, hi, Doreen. But it's clown world. And so people are so scared. But I love it when you guys come on and you like share your stories and say it's working for you, because that really helps people out, women out there who are suffering, who are still scared. And it is so sad to me. And one of the reasons that I started this online program is so that we could reach a lot more women, that we could touch a lot more lives, because it's so sad that there's something completely natural, not a prescription like Prozac or sleeping pills, anxiety pills, aches and pains pills, something that is completely natural that most people don't even know about, that's available to them, because Big Pharma doesn't want you to know about it. They want you on all the drugs. They don't want you better. Now, I'm a doctor, so I write prescriptions. Don't get me wrong. If somebody needs an antibiotic or whatever the case may be, an acute injury or something like that, it has its place. I trained right along all my other colleagues. But when it comes to wellness, and I think of menopause and perimenopause as wellness, because we want to be well, we want to be healthy. There's nothing broken about us. We are designed for our ovaries to run out of eggs. That's just part of it. But we don't have to suffer. And God gives us the ability to have this all natural stuff hormones are what God made. We're supposed to have them and the opportunity. And I truly believe, because people are like, well, if we're made for our ovaries to literally dry up and retire, then why do you need hormones? And shouldn't you just like let it go? I'm like, I don't want to let it go. I don't know about you, but I don't want to let it go. I don't want to be like, I'll just be kind of contrary here for a minute, but I see the women who are at my high school reunions and they look 100 years old. And I'm like, the difference I know is because those poor women are still scared of hormones. And I'm 56 and some of those women look 80. And it's just so sad. But my true belief is that because our food supply has changed so much, and because there's so many chemicals in our environment, and there's so many what are called xenoestrogens, which are estrogens that act like estrogens in your body, but they are not. They're cancer-causing chemicals that, although they share a few molecules that look like estrogen, are not. And they are triggering all sorts of cellular abnormalities. So that's what we're dealing with when we're talking about synthetic hormones. It's completely different, but our environment has changed so much that we have to have some help, or we are literally going to lose our minds. And so many women are suffering. So I want to stop the suffering. A lot of times too, the question comes up, do you need progesterone? Absolutely. Progesterone helps to balance out estrogen. It balances out your cortisol. It keeps your adrenals healthy. It keeps all the feedback happening properly. So I would say make sure, if you can find a doctor to help you with this, which if you can't, we can, but make sure that they don't just put you on estrogen, because I see women on estrogen who gain estrogen only, who gain 5 to 15 pounds a year. And obesity is a disease. It is deadly. It can kill you. So don't let anybody just put you on estrogen, and certainly not synthetic, and certainly not through the oral route. So know that you have options. And I would say it's our little secret, but I don't want it to be our little secret. I want you to share this with other women. So share my videos, share the information, get the downloads, get the links, share them with your friends, because that's the only way we can make the difference. And it is my mission, I always say, before I leave this planet, for at least 50% of women to have the choice after menopause for bioidentical hormones, because I don't want any woman to suffer. I watched my mom break her one hip twice and her other hip. So she broke a hip 3 times. We say 3 hips. I watched her and my grandma with dementia. I don't want that for my life. It was awful. And I took care of her. And I don't want that. My son is 21. I don't want that for him. I don't want him to have to come visit me in the nursing home. I want to be vibrant, helping women like you. Yeah, Katie, medications are deadly. And not all medications, right? Because there are some things that we need and can help, but absolutely natural. And Katie, I'm a little bit, and some people do just fine with yam cream, but the problem with the yam cream is it's only a chemical called disogen, and it stimulates progesterone, but it's not progesterone. And it doesn't help the estrogen imbalance. So it's not protecting your bones. It's not protecting your energy levels, not protecting your heart, all the things that you need protected. So that's why I really preach, I'm so preachy, the estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, testosterone, pregnenolone, whatever it is that's deficient, to balance all of that. Because just because you have a chemical that can stimulate some of your natural progesterone, because your adrenals can make progesterone and your adrenals can make some estrogen. And this is kind of crazy, because your fat cells around your stomach, we call that visceral fat, can actually produce some estrogen. But the problem is it's an estrogen that is problematic, and God doesn't make a bad hormone. But that form of estrogen that's stored in your belly fat after 40 just makes you gain more belly fat, because it's a storage estrogen. So your estradiol that protects your blood vessels, keep you from getting high blood pressure, protects your brain and your heart and your bones, that estradiol is 0, zip. Estriol, which is your protective estrogen, 0. The only estrogen that you have in any decent quantity is estrone, which is what we call E1. So you'll hear E1, E2, and E3 a lot in the terminology in this bioidentical hormone world, which is when somebody says bias, they're talking about the two protective estrogens. The only estrogen that a woman has is made from your fat cells in your belly, and it is a very inflammatory type estrogen. So again, it's a growth inducing, not so much inflammatory. If you're a 9-year-old girl trying to grow breasts, estrone is a great hormone to have. But if you're a menopausal female and that's the only estrogen you have, you are at risk for cancer and all sorts of diseases and heart disease. So it's sort of partially true that estrogen can cause cancer, but it's the imbalance. It's because after menopause, you don't have the estradiol and the estriol. All you have is estrone, and that can increase inflammation. It can cause cells to grow and turn over, which then can become tumors and then can become cancer. So it's really important that you have the balance. I wonder if I need more bioidentical estradiol. I have fat around my stomach. Absolutely. So if you have a lot of weight around your middle, there's an enzyme called aromatase. And if estrone is the only estrogen that you have and your body thinks you need more estrogen, it's going to keep pumping out. Oh, thank you, Elaine. It's going to keep pumping out more of that estrone, which causes your cortisol to go up because it's an inflammatory estrogen. And when your cortisol goes up, now you have more belly fat. And so it's just this vicious cycle. So getting the right estradiol takes the stress off the system. And now your body doesn't have to convert as much into estrone. And this is kind of crazy because women actually have more testosterone than estrogen. And don't get me wrong, men have a lot more testosterone. But apples to apples, not apples to oranges, but apples to apples, we have more testosterone. And so we have more of what we call the more male hormones, androgens, testosterone. Men and women have all the same hormones, but we have more of the androgens after menopause because our estrogen progesterone balance, well, there isn't any because we have no estradiol or progesterone. And so now what little androgen that we have can actually cause some anxiety. It can cause some weird stuff like we start growing hair where it's not supposed to be, or the little chinny chin chin. And then we start having our hair falling out because now we have all these androgens. So it can be all the things that we don't want. So the balance of that is what's really, really important. Yeah, and you can get a man voice. Absolutely. So what you see as you see a woman aging without hormone support, what you see is she starts to sound like a smoker, even if she's not a smoker. Is that really, it's like a dude, like a guy, and it's like, and the skin wrinkling, falling, breaking hips, blood pressure goes up, risk of heart disease, the brain fog, you start losing bone density in your spine, so you get shorter. You hear women say all the time, I've gotten shorter. What's the deal? So I'm almost 5'11", so I could lose a few inches and I'd be okay, but I don't want to because I like being tall. I don't want to lose my bone in my back. Plus, the pain and the inflammation, so if you joint pain, arthritis, when your bone is diminished, when the calcium, because estrogen puts calcium in your bones, when that bone becomes weakened, the joint space becomes weakened. And now you're bone on bone. And now people start talking to you about hip replacements and shoulder replacements. And now you're going to physical therapy because you don't have any fluid, because estrogen makes the fluid in your joints. And now you don't have your progesterone. So you have all this inflammation. So you have no fluid, you're bone on bone, and you have inflammation. So what do you see in the nursing home? You see hunched over, lost bone height, broken hips, scooting around in wheelchairs with, my mom had to do that because she had broke her hip so many times. There was no bone to actually put back together. Incontinence, that urine smell when you walk into a nursing home. When you don't have any estrogen going to the vaginal area, it completely dries out. You get urinary tract infections, which can be fatal for elderly people. 60% of women who break their hips over the age of 60 die within the first year. That's young. See, I'm 56. That's right around the corner. I do not want to fall and break a hip in 4 years and only live one more year to 60. I mean, not even make it to 61. That's absolutely terrifying to me. I want to be vibrant. I want to be active. I want to have grandkids. I want to do all those things. All I remember about my mom's nursing home was the guys chasing the poor nurses around. I know, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's a thing. It can be a thing. Yeah. Sometimes they'll put men on estrogen blockers as they get older because they're starting to get dementia and then they don't know what they're doing. So that can be pretty bad. Actually, I think my mom, when we go to the hospital, like, when she broke her hip, she'd be flirting with all the male nurses too. So, it's a thing. But I think what happens is we get older, the filters come off and we just say whatever. So yeah, so it's a thing. But I don't want you guys suffering. I would love for you to get a hormone test kit. All you have to do is to go to our website, hormonebliss.com. Good grief, I wrote that really fast and really yucky. I'm going to write that like for real. Hormone Bliss. I have doctor's writing, don't I? .com, or you can go to my link in bio. Okay, so Diana, I get asked this question all the time. How long should you stay on BHRT? Forever. I always say, unless they figure out a way to grow our ovaries back because they're gone, THT, no filter. Unless they figure out a way to grow our ovaries back or do ovary transplants, as long as you want to keep your bones and your brain and your heart and your skin and your continence healthy, you are going to have to take something. And the best thing to take is bioidentical hormones, which are affordable and accessible. And our program is nationwide. There is no reason why any woman should have to suffer. Stay on BHRT forever. I'll be buried in mine. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I will absolutely. If I become incapacitated, I'm going to give my family directions to put my cream on me. If I'm incapacitated, I probably wouldn't care, but yeah, absolutely. So you have no ovaries. If you do an ultrasound on a woman 5 to 10 years out from menopause, because we have all the eggs we're ever going to have, we lose about half of them by the time we're 30, and then by the time we're 50, they're gone. Our ovaries do not produce hormones anymore. And when that happens, we are on the slow burn to the grave. And if men had to live like that with no testosterone, it would be crazy world, right? It'd be completely different the way we look at things. But as long as you want to feel good and be vibrant, you're going to need hormones. And if you have completely healthy adrenals and you eat from the Garden of Eden and you have no stress, that might be a way to go. But I'm gonna show you this one thing real quick, just to hit the point home. This is a graph of birth to 100. You want to live to be 100. If you don't have hormones, you won't want to because you'll feel horrible. But on this axis is estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. So I'm going to do all of those in just pink. So around birth, we hit puberty and our hormones start climbing, and then they fluctuate with time. And then maybe you have a baby or another baby. And then around 35, things start to get really crazy. This is perimenopause. So it's kind of puberty in reverse. And then we start dropping off. Our progesterone crashes. We stop sleeping. Our estrogen starts crashing. Hot flashes, weight gain, mood swings, night sweats, hot flashes. And then by the time we get to 50, we flatline. Nothing here. Nothing. I'm telling you, if we do hormone levels on somebody after menopause out here, it's nothing. It's like the less than 5. I mean, it's crazy on the assay. So what we really focus on is getting hormone balance here. And if you do an ultrasound on a woman over the age of 65, the radiologist will actually read the ultrasound as ovaries not detected because they have no ability to make hormones anymore. They literally just shrivel up. So every part of your body literally just shrivels up when you don't make those ovarian sex steroid hormones anymore. And all of your other hormones are affected by that. Your thyroid, your insulin, all the hormones are affected by that. And it's very sad. Yes, Chris, it is very, very sad. So I promised that I was going to go through these 5 things. So let me just kind of breeze through these. So eat healthy. And mostly what I mean is avoid processed foods. Intermittent fasting, I really like that because it allows your body to have those healing and let the inflammation go down, healing times. Focus on protein. So the best thing you can do is build muscle strength training. And if you're focused on protein, then you're not going to have much room left over in your stomach for carbs. So I don't like to tell people to not have carbs. They would hate me. I still have carbs. I mean, because my hormones are balanced and my metabolism is good. So I pretty much feel like I don't have to be so militant about everything that goes in my mouth. Pump is measured amount, squeezed amounts. Difference between using the pump and separate creams. So I don't quite understand that question, but the pump is what the creams, how they're administered, basically. So if we didn't get that question answered, make sure you direct message me and I'll get that question answered for you. Okay, and supplements. So I love vitamin D and E and K. E is really good for the skin. D is actually a hormone. Fish oil helps you make substrate for the hormone conversions. Melatonin, that goes down when we get closer to menopause. Diethylmendolamine, or DIM, helps diminish that estrone or that problematic estrogen. Your methylated Bs, your multi-minerals like your zinc and your copper and your vitamin C, super important. Movement, intermittent exercise, and strength training is so powerful. And start now. Start now if you're perimenopause, if you're younger, because if you build that muscle mass, it will take you through menopause. And muscle burns fat for you, so it's going to continue to support your metabolism. But strength training is so important. And if that means you just get some barbells and put them by your bed and do 10 reps a day, do something. And that can be so easy to do. Liver health, because your liver converts your hormones for you. So detoxification, methylated vitamins, make sure that you have lots of things that support your liver. I love dandelion tea. I usually am drinking dandelion tea because I talk so much. It helps me. Avoid toxins as much as possible and focus on your gut health because your liver is connected to your gut. And as far as hormone support goes, bioidentical hormones, of course, and avoid sugars and starches because that affects your insulin, and insulin can throw everything off and cause you to gain weight, and insulin has a whole nother impact. Support your adrenal glands. Sleep, which progesterone helps with sleep, so it's kind of a vicious cycle. You know, if you don't have progesterone, you're not sleeping, so it's hard to support your hormones. And stress. So a couple things you can do with stress, and I love to help women understand, because if your mood is balanced and your hormones are balanced, you handle stress so much easier. And I have, women tell me all the time that everything bothers them because they don't have hormone balance. They're not sleeping. They don't feel good. Their mood's up. They don't have estrogen to balance things out. Progesterone for inflammation. They feel like their brain is on fire. So stress is very, very real, and hormones can help that. But there's a couple of things. One is assume positive intent. And I think that's a great way to practice life, is to assume that people have your best interest. Now, not everybody does, but it can really change. Your friend doesn't show up to lunch and you're like, oh, she must hate me, or what's wrong with me? And so you're like assuming this malintent of that person, or she's just rude. How could she not call? Well, you don't know that something really serious didn't happen. So assuming positive intent takes you to that place where you're like, oh, well, maybe something happened. Maybe something came up, and it just allows you to breathe a little bit. I love the 5-5-5 rule. So asking yourself, is this a 5-minute problem? Is this a 5-hour, a 5-day problem, or a 5-year problem can really help lower your stress perception. And then, is it true? Asking yourself, because we tend to over exaggerate and overthink as women, and that's because our brains are designed to multitask. Multitask. So is it true? Is it really true that person meant to hurt your feelings, or is that really true? So asking that can be really helpful. Okay, so I know my hour's up. I love you guys so much. I do just want you to get your hormones checked. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Direct message me if I didn't get to you, and just order a test kit. Go to hormonebliss.com. You can go to my link in bio. You just put your little saliva in here. It's only $129 But if you use the code TikTok20, it takes $20 off of that. We'll send these out first thing Monday morning. You can have it within 2 to 3 days. You can get your levels checked, and within a couple weeks, we can have you on a individualized regimen for bioidentical hormone therapy and stop your suffering. So, okay, you guys, I love you so much. If you need anything, just let me know, and I will see you very soon. Have a wonderful weekend.